Before anyone asks, no, I'm not trying to bring back the e-boy haircut from 2013. I'm almost 30, I don't intend on looking like a young version of Justin Bieber. I just haven't had the time to go have a haircut. Anyways, you guys are not here for my hair, you're here for my beautiful personality and handsome looks. Right? For the minority of you who aren't here for my good looks, today I'm covering Jacob Green's new movie, Vexanthrone. And if you're familiar with my channel, you might remember his name from his last film, Slave Dolls, which was also the last horror fetish film I covered on my channel. Because let's be honest, that genre is getting as stale as a 3-day-old Pabst Blue Ribbon.
Pabst Blue Ribbon!
So I was happy whenever I watched Jacob's new movie to see that it was nothing like that. Of course it shares some genetics with that movement, but it's also just a more weirdo art film instead of straight up fetish horror. And even though I really enjoyed my time with this film, I was thinking to myself, how do I review this? Because it reminded me a lot of another movie I adore, which is Begotten, in the sense that it's just a lot of scene that probably means something, but I'm too stupid to understand. What I do understand though is cinematic techniques, and I have to say that this film is incredibly impressive. It is clear that Jacob has an eye for what looks good on camera, especially himself. By the way, if you want to see Jacob's hog, and trust me, you do, you can go subscribe to my Patreon because oh boy, is he not shy about it throughout this entire film. So where was I before I got distracted? And trust me, if you watch this, you'll get distracted by Jacob's hog too. I feel so weird saying jokes like that because at the end of the day, I'm a friend of Jacob's and I kind of feel weird about talking about his hog in a video review, but hey, he put it out there. So I'm gonna talk about it. Where was I? So yeah, the technical aspect, the lighting is beautiful, the shots are great, there's a lot of interesting camera work, and I do like the special effects. This movie is a gross out film. If I had to find a plot somewhere, it's kind of a pseudo-documentary about the character that Jacob plays. He plays this weirdo artist who's kind of, yeah, a weirdo artist.
I don't know what's gonna become of me.
And we follow his interview and he talks about, you know, pretension, his perspective on art, and then it's interspersed with him doing art or being possessed by a demon because there's a lot of body horror in this, which is another aspect I adore. Like I said, I'm tired of the fetish horror films. I can't stand seeing somebody get pissed on again. I've seen that way too much in the past 2 years. So whenever I saw that this was more towards a body horror kind of vibe, I was really happy. Especially one of the scenes that really grossed me out, where basically Jacob's character has gums on his hands and there are teeth growing out of it, and his character decides to pull out every single teeth one by one. There's also a lot of him playing with his scabs, and there's of course the mannequin, which anytime I see somebody obsessed over a mannequin in a horror film, I feel really uncomfortable. Those scenes kind of seem like if Joe Spinell's character in Maniac was a weirdo artist who kind of liked to take off scabs off himself and put them on the mannequin. Yep, that also happens. Thank you, Jacob. Really cool. Something else I liked about this film is that the music is not just disgusting noise throughout the entire running time, and also it's really short. If I had complaints about this, even though it's only 65 minutes, some scenes and it does feel long at parts, and that's just because there's no dialogue, there's no really interaction between characters. Like I said, it's kind of a collection of scene interspersed with a interview with Jacob's character, and although I appreciate it, I feel like it could have been a bit shorter. Also, the feces scene, like, come on, okay. Nah, was it really necessary? But at the same time, I know that Jacob is a Mario and Dora fan, so I prefer that he takes inspiration from feces scenes in Dora movies instead of animal scenes in Dora movies. And I think he did everything. I'm not too sure about the music, but Jacob is a multi-talented guy, so I wouldn't be surprised, but he did everything for this, and that's even more impressive. This is clearly a project of passion and love. And Jacob just really likes weirdo art films, so he decided to make himself a weirdo art film. And even though the film is about this pretentious guy talking about how much of an artist he is and being really like just weird like art school graduate type of vibe, it doesn't feel too pretentious in itself. It feels more like just a display of good special effects and of course good music and good cinematography, and the ending is really, really cool. And I do really like the body horror aspect, but I talked about that already, so I'm kind of repeating myself because this is an hour-long art film where there's no real story, so how the fuck am I supposed to review it? But yeah, if you were with me in my early phase of my channel and you liked a lot of the films I talked about, I think you will enjoy this one. Like I said, if you're a fetish horror fan, this still has some genetics of that and you might appreciate it for how far it goes. If you're a fan of movies like Begotten, you might appreciate it because it's really similar. If you think to yourself that David Cronenberg's movies are too linear, you might like this one. Now, I'm not comparing Cronenberg to Jacob. I like you, Jacob, but you got a lot of work to do until you get to Cronenberg's level. But for what this movie is, it's really impressive, and I would recommend it to people who like the movies I covered whenever I started my channel, you know, the underground horror fans. And you can get it from his website, Tarnished Vision, I think. I don't remember exactly, but there will be a link in the bio. And if you're gonna support somebody, Jacob's a good person to support, and the film is good. Also, I don't care, they'll get mad at me because, you know, this is impromptu and they didn't ask me to do this. But if you're gonna support underground artists, Jacob is a good guy, and also the guys at the Sick on Cinema, they released this. It's really good. I watched it yesterday. It's a compilation of shorts from John from that podcast. They're hilarious, and actually you can see his progress through being a filmmaker because the first short is like from 2008 or like maybe even earlier, and then his latest film is like from 2017, and you can see the progress. And John he won't admit it, but he's a great filmmaker who has really a big range because he can make something goofy and he can make something fun, something more serious, as I saw in this compilation with the short film Vessels, which was great. So this is also a Short Shits review. Go buy it, and go buy both. Go buy Jacob's new project and go buy Sick on Cinema's new project. And by the way, money goes to charity for this one, so you're not even... They don't even accept that they're good enough to charge people to make money, so they give everything to charity, which is good. So thank you, everyone. Go support the underground. Go support Jacob. Go support John. And if you want to support me, I have a Patreon too.